I'd invite you today to begin in a seated pose. And as I asked you to potentially bring in something to support you, maybe there's something that you would like to sit on. Could be, just to be more comfortable. I will do exactly that as well, sit myself up nicely. If there's anything in this class, and I know especially one person here won't be used to that, so sometimes technology fails, and the beauty is you can unmute yourself if there's anything that even comes up in your practice, but also if technology happens to fail. So I set myself down instantly. I feel very comfortable this morning, but you might not. And please shuffle around as much as you need to find yourself in a comfortable seated position. By no means do the knees have to rest on the floor, or even do you need to bend your knees this deeply. If you need to sit differently, please simply do so. Let your hands come to rest somewhere comfortable. If you like, close the eyes, if your space is safe. And maybe otherwise steadying your gaze at a solid point in front. So once you've done so, notice yourself basically just sitting there. Maybe you're noticing your breath. Maybe you just notice the weight of your body on the floor. What is this card of creation about, and the thought that you might want to invite into your practice? The picture that is drawn on it is the she shaman. And she promises, I will guide you to your muse. Meaning that we all have some creative energy that sits within us, that we're all creative. It's just a matter of bringing this out within us. And it might not be that you're beautiful at drawing or in the sense of typical art. You might have a quality of creativity that lies somewhere else. So your path is an artistic one. You can express your love in a tangible art form. And this art form could also be your creativity as you are working with yourself this morning, the physical body, as you learn to listen to it. Building these different shapes while acknowledging that this is you. The first practice that I would like you to do is a simple observation now. Observe the flow of air through your nostrils. And become aware that there is likely, but not necessarily, one side where the air flows through smoothly, the other one may be a little bit more blocked. And you might want to also know that these sides continuously swap and change. We have one that is often dominant throughout the day, yet still we've got cycles of a few hours where that might change and swap over. So one side, the left, might be your creative side. The right, if that flows freely, might be more of your active side. Yet there would be creativity again in both. Allow your breath to deepen a bit from here and keeping that observation going. Try not to force anything or any change in which nostril you're breathing through. And let's get a little bit more creative this morning. If you need to look up, please do so. We're creating a lotus flower by coming into Jana Mudra, which means index and thumbs will be touching. But then bring the two hands together at your wrists. Then touching your little fingers together. And you might have, I know some of you might want to see that a little bit closer. So index and thumbs together, wrists together, and then touching the little fingers together. And then the other two fingers, they stay softly but extended. So that's what it looks like. And then you draw that back down in front of your heart space. So using the lotus flower as a symbol of maybe even also overcoming some of our own obstacles as we're exploring our creativity today. I would ask you then to open the eyes and look down onto this flower. You could even visualize it being a certain color, and it might come to mind that purple could be a good idea. If that's not the color that pops up in your mind, go with yours. And I'd ask you now to then roll over your little fingers, and I might get up again. Roll over your little fingers, then to the backs of the hands, then roll in, keeping in touch, rolling over your thumbs, and then the lotus flower, draw that back in front of your heart space. And keep observing as you continue the movement. So rolling over the little fingers, over the backs of the hands, across the thumbs until the flower's back there. And repeat that one more time and just observing. Keep your eye gaze on the movement of this lotus flower with your hands. And we'll repeat another 3, but this time we're changing direction. So we're rolling over the thumbs this time, then the backs of the hands, then the little fingers, and bringing the flower back into your heart. And repeat that twice more, just rolling over the thumbs, backs of the hands, little fingers, and bring the flower back in. And one last time. As you rest the flower back down in front of your heart, you might feel that the joints of your arms, wrists, shoulders might have warmed up a little bit. Let's take a breath in and stretch the arms up. Release your mudra, open the arms. And as you're breathing out, bring your hands down to your knees and round into your back. Take a breath in, open through the chest, draw the shoulder blades together. On your out breath, hold back onto the knees and round your back. Repeat that just once more, breathing in to open into your front and a breath out to round into the back. Now let's reach out of the back. And then gently twisting to the right with little effort, just a movement in the other direction. Inhale, center yourself, and then do that again to your left as you're breathing out. Just so once more to each side. And you might change the intensity of the twist in the second round. Remember, this is just to warm up through the body and to prepare you for deeper movements. There's no need to rush those. Once you've finished your twisting action, removing maybe your support from underneath, I will remove my socks for a little bit of a better grip there on the mat. And I would love you to place the hands at least briefly behind you. Lean a little bit back to the space between your sit bones. And if you're quite happy here, maybe you're already feeling your inner strength, you might otherwise choose to lift the feet. Staying there would be your option then. Or maybe even lifting the arms, taking it into a slightly deeper boat pose. Your choice. Finding the length in the spine, the space between the sit bones, feet may not be lifted, so could your arms. And then swing the feet over to one side and come up onto your hands and knees, all fours. We're repeating the same movement that we had before, so separate your knees to about hip distance apart. Take a breath in, lift your tail and your gaze. And as you're breathing out, round deeply into your back. Inhaling, soft elbows, lifting tail and gaze, space in your front. And your out breath to round. Do so just twice more without my cueing of your breathing. Find your own pace. And the next time, please sit back towards your heels. Let your hands come back to your knees. And rise up to sit on your heels. Now, if you've got knee problems today, please stand up on your knees instead. Let's bring the hands together. If you're quite quick with your lotus flower, you could keep that as a theme throughout the practice. If that is challenging for you, palms touching does a good job as well. So as you sit here, take a breath in, lift the hips off the heels, open the hands, open through the front of your body. And as you're breathing out, land your hands down. Inhale, come back to opening through the front. Exhaling, round out into the back. Now, if that suits you, your knees allow you to roll over the knees, then lower the pelvis and open the heart space. Lower back problems, you might not go that far. Knee issues, your feet might stay on the floor if that works for you at all. From this place, then retreat the body back into an extended child's pose. Sliding the hands back about mat distance apart. Lower the head down if this works for you. You can keep it hovering off the floor as well if need be. Lifting the hips up and gently rolling to the top of the head. Use your hands to support. Don't put too much weight down into the top of the head. Notice how that makes you feel this morning. If it's not right, sit back. And we will all sit back down towards the heels. I will ask you to push down into the hands and carefully lifting the head, hands coming back up and maybe into prayer or lotus flower. We'll lift up once more on your next breath in, rise, open. On the out breath, landing down onto all fours. A breath in to open the front of your body, light back bend. And an out breath to round into the spine. We will sit straight back towards the heels. And I will ask you from here to slide over the front of the body and lying down onto your tummy. Let your hands come back by the sides of your rib cage or underneath your shoulders. Keep your feet flat down onto the ground. Almost push them into the mat, lifting through the knees. And then take a breath in, lifting head and chest. Keep it soft and gentle, this first cobra. Your shoulders in their sockets, your elbows down by the sides, the legs really active, your buttocks muscles switched on. And if that suits, then take the hands off the ground. And keep the upper body lifted and place the hands back down. Use them as a gentle support. Then experiment with lifting them again. How does that feel? Can you pause there while you're breathing? Then place the hands back down. Use them as a gentle support. We'll do that one more time. If you like, you know your alternatives. Hands lifting, floating, getting strength into the upper back. Then the hands down and notice how the strength shifts in your back, in your whole body really. And then release down. Rest the forehead to the floor. Slide the arms forward. Maybe even stack your hands and rest the forehead on for a moment. Dropping into a crocodile pose. Your choice, big toes might be touching. You could move a little bit into the pelvis, finding your place. Take a deep breath in and out. And yay, we can sigh again, we're at home. So if you want to sigh, please feel free to do so. Slide the hands back, bring them again by your side. On your breath in, coming up onto all fours. And round your back as you sit again to your heels. Now returning onto all fours. Again, we're solidly set up, but I would love you now to lift your right knee. Keep your big toe on the floor or your foot, and then squeeze your hips up and back for a twisted all four stance. Then release the knee back down onto the mat. I will change sides so it's easier for you. Lift your left knee. And then reach your hips up and back. So foot stays on the floor. Big stretch into the left side here. Let's do that again. Lower the knee down. Lift the right one. And stretch the hips up and back. Now see if you can stay there and slide your right leg out. And then take a breath in and lift the right arm too. So we're in a supported side plank. If you don't like the support, by all means, take the left knee off the floor. If you would just like to extend more into the side, take your right arm overhead. But stay grounded with the right foot. If you're reaching overhead, palm is facing down. Allow that big openness. Then bring your hands down. Bring your knee down to the floor and stretch it back into your extended child's pose. I'll ask you again to slide all the way over your mat and come to lie down on the front of your body. You could turn your head towards your right side if that suits and resting yourself down. You can have your arms alongside the body. Or you can place your left arm in front of you and maybe use the hand here as a cushion. So that's entirely up to you how you're choosing to rest the head and your left arm. But your right knee will come to a bend. Now, if you need any help here catching the foot, you might bring in a scarf or whatever you've got there. Maybe there's a strap. And then just guiding your foot towards your buttocks. If you want to go deeper today, you can guide the foot to the outside of the hip, but really just want to stretch out through the quads. And as you're resting here, basically pausing for a little while, the heel gets drawn down towards the buttocks, and at the same time, you might choose to encourage the hips down onto the floor for a bit of a deeper stretch. Just observing your reactions. You might not be as stiff as I am in the thighs. You might be quite mobile and take the foot down to the outside of your hip. Take another deep breath. Good opportunity to check in with your nostrils. then release the foot. I will ask you now to turn your head in the other direction. And choose again, do you want your arms alongside the body, or do you want your right arm forward to rest your head upon? Notice how this side feels before you're entering into the stretch. When you're ready, you might bend your knee. And even if you're just lifting the foot here, you might have knee problems like myself on this side, and encouraging the hips down, you might feel the action in the top of the thigh. But if you can take a hold and it feels right, maybe it just gives you what you need today, encourage the heel towards the buttocks while you're pushing your hips down onto the mat. Stay there for a few breaths, just notice the sensations in the body, where your breath is flowing. And then release it. Release the foot back down. Turn your head to center, hands by your side, lift it back up and stretch it carefully back into your extended child's pose. Now let's come back onto all fours. We've got another side to go. As we're lifting the left knee, and then squeezing the hips up and back and holding there. Extending the left leg out from here. And a breath in to lift the left arm. So the posture changes. Becomes a side plank. Again, the option of lifting the right knee off the ground and extending your arm over the head. Do so anyway if you like. Maybe the palm of the hand rotates down, keeping the left foot grounded rather than getting relaxed in that leg. Let's release. Release the hands and the knee down. Tuck the toes under. Lift your knees off the ground. Down dog. Now, how are you feeling in this down dog? Ask yourself. Is there a movement that you might want to have? It could be the classical movement of just walking out through your legs, or it could be that the hips need to go in one or the other direction. And then from this point, let's walk the feet forward towards the top end of the mat. And allow yourself to stay there within this forward bend. Your knees might be bent, and I invite you to take a hold of the opposite elbow. If your blood pressure allows you to, let the head fall and get rid of any tension or strength in your neck. From there, might you start to sway a bit from side to side. The next movement that I will introduce might be a little bit strong. If it is too strong, your hands can rest anywhere against the leg to facilitate some help. Otherwise, take a breath in, lift up halfway, and your arms might actually wrap around the head. Notice that you need some core strength to come into this position. Pause here, center the weight over your feet. Maybe the knees are staying a bit bent, lengthen through the spine, and your out-breath all the way down and back into your forward bend. Let's try that once again. Take your time to get there. A breath in as you're lifting up. Maybe hold there for a moment. It's quite strong if you think about it in your back, your core supporting, and then your breath out as you fall again. We'll only do that one more time. Let's breathe in and lift to the point. Arms don't have to be this high. Modify. Notice how you're feeling within this hold in particular. And then release it back down into a forward bend. And now also release your hands. and start to shift the weight a bit forward within the feet. Now might be a nice time to lift more through the tailbone and bring the nose a bit closer towards the knees. As you soften again through your legs, please take your time, switch your lower abs on and exhale to roll up into standing. Lifting the shoulders up and let them release down. Now let's lift the arms out in front, making fists as you're drawing the hands right in front of the shoulders. See if you can hold the breath within the body. Unfold your fingers as you're holding. Of course, can you breathe if you need to? Still holding the breath as you stretch the arms up high. Create space around your ribcage. And then a slow exhalation out of nose, usually. Let the arms drift back down by the sides. We'll repeat that twice more. So basically it's an inhalation, a long hold, and then followed by a soft, slow exhalation. Let's do that again. Lift the arms, breathe in, pull the fists in front, strong legs, hold your breath, unfolding your fingers, extending through the arms, the sides of the body. And then your out breath as you're releasing the arms. We will do so one more time, and this time we will use the exhalation to fold forward. So as you breathe in, pull the fists in, hold, holding your breath, unfolding through all of the fingers, extending up and tall. And as you're breathing out, the knees might bend, and we're slowly folding forward with this exhalation. Half lift on the in-breath. And then let's step the right foot back into a lunge. Your choice of bringing the right knee to the floor if you need some support here, but the right hand comes underneath the shoulder. And as you breathe in, relax your whole body. And next, push into the floor and lift it. The left arm reaching up as you're turning towards your knee. Now let's see what we can do in this posture, each of us. Think about the extension backwards, the twist that happens in the spine, and then maybe think about the heaviness on the floor. Do you feel heavy in this pose? And can you get that idea of the lift from the ground? It's okay if you're feeling heavy. It's just an exploration of yourself. So from that place then, bring the knee down, bring the hand down, step the foot back, and stretch it again into an extended child's pose. On a breath in now, moving forward. You can lift your feet off the ground if that suits your needs. But we are lowering down onto the mat now on the out breath. I will ask you once again to bend the right knee. It's okay not to hold onto the foot, but if you can catch it, catch it. Keep your left hand underneath your shoulder. Extend actively into the left leg, but keep the top of the foot on the floor. And on the in-breath, lifting the head and the chest, and if your foot is in the hand, push it into the hand. Otherwise, maybe lifting the knee and the foot. Hold here, half bow pose. The left hand there can support a balance around the shoulders. And then release it. Place the hand back down by the sides. We'll change sides. Left knee is bending. You might reach for the left foot. Keep the right hand under the shoulder. Press down into the top of the right foot, active right leg. And then on the inhalation, lift on this side. And you might use again your right hand to support balance around chest and shoulders, while you're aiming to bring the foot back or lift the knee or just hold in the upper body. Then release it. Bring your hands down, lift back up and stretch to your extended child's pose, in which I invite you to take a few breaths. It's your variation of a child's pose too. Your legs could be wide or close, your arms forward or by your side. Allowing yourself to breathe and to notice maybe again, is it still the same nostril through which you're breathing freely, or is it even both? Let's extend the arms forward. A breath in as you come up onto your hands and knees. Tuck the toes. A breath out to extend for your down dog. Walking the feet to the top end of your mat. Take a half lift here. Breathe out to fold. Move back up as you breathe in. And on the out breath, shrug the shoulders down. Release through your arms. I would love you to do the breathing once more where we're holding the breath in, and again we're folding forward then on the exhalation. Let's lift the arms, make the fists, draw the hands in front of the shoulders, then start to hold your breath once you're full of air. Extending the fingers out, extending the arms up, still holding your breath if possible. Then soften the knees, and as you're exhaling, slowly folding forward. Inhale, taking your half lift. And on the out breath, stepping your left foot back into a lunge. Again, the option of placing your left knee to the ground, if this is what you need today, you're more into the twist. And we all slide the left hand underneath the shoulder or the knees off the ground. Let's do what we did on the other side. As you inhale, relax the body. So the back knee might be bending, the upper body is resting over your thigh. And then use the strength from the floor as you take a breath in and turn and lift your right arm. Get a sense of the idea of lifting and flying off the ground. But notice how you are reacting to this idea at the moment. Maybe there's a resistance in the mind because you're feeling quite heavy. Maybe you can shift some of this heaviness and use it as the gravity that supports you. Notice how you're feeling. How's the breath? That's your indicator. To release, soften again, place the hand down, bring the knees down, sit it all the way back down onto your heels. Sitting upright in your body, either prayer position or your lotus flower. Center your gaze, be tall in your spine, and let's rise. A breath in as you lift off your heels and opening and reaching. A breath out to bring your hands down, all fours. Inhale, lift tail and gaze. Exhale, round into the back. If you like, you can roll over the knees or just come forward into kneeling or even a full plank right now. And as you're breathing out, keep your elbows snug and lower once more down onto the front of your body. untucking the toes. Of course, this leads us into a full bow pose if you choose to go there. There's no need to enter the full posture. If you prefer supported cobra or a different variation, please go there. You might, for even a different variation, lengthen the arms along the side of the body. To enter a full bow pose, you might bend both knees, reach for your feet. Make sure the knees aren't going out to the side. I can't see you in this detail at the moment, so do take good care you're using your legs wisely. And as you breathe in, lift the upper body, maybe the feet coming into the hands, and you're lifting for your bow. Maybe it looks more like this, or even the legs extended. Stay with your back bent. Just 2 more breaths. And when you release it, I invite you back into a crocodile for a little while. So placing the legs back down, bringing the arms forward, resting the forehead down, big toes together might be nice just for the lower back and pelvis, and the heels rolling out. As you come to rest in your crocodile, allow yourself to breathe deeply, to notice every part of this breath as it enters and exits the nostrils and which side you're breathing through. But also how the breath expands and maybe guides your body gently into the mat. Couple more breaths. Once you completed those breaths, bring the hands back down, separate your feet, lift it up onto all fours, and if you like, can you tuck the toes under, stretch back into puppy, or straight away lift the knees off the ground for a down dog. Hold it here. If this is too strong for your wrists, you might instead lower the forearms for a dolphin. Otherwise, maybe the knees are on the ground if the lifted knees are too strong. I would ask you to hold this shape with the hips highest point as an inversion, and allowing yourself to be as comfortable as you can, which might mean that you're actually allowing your head to wobble a little to release potential tension in your neck. It might mean that at some stage you bring your knees down because you notice you're actually tensing up. And again, use your breath as this indicator. Your breath is challenged or you're not breathing smoothly. Take it down a step. This is about bringing blood flow to the head, not just the strength that might accompany. We will slowly release that, but not in the usual way. So if your knees are on the floor, please lift them. If your forearms are down, please step back up onto your hands. And then take your time to walk the feet to the top end of your mat. And please stay there. Your head has been very low for a long, long time. I use my pelvic floor or mula bandha to come up into standing. If that's not quite yours, you can also use hands on top of the thighs. But encourage to draw on the lower belly as you're breathing out and take your time to roll up. Keep the hands quite heavy, very slowly making your way up into standing. And you might shrug the shoulders again or even rock over your feet. Now let's take all of that we've gained and explored into a balance. Again, it's not essential to catch the foot. If you've got a prop like a strap or a shawl or something with you and you know the foot is far away, but you would like to, then wrap that around your ankle. Otherwise, we'll shift the weight onto the left foot and bending the right knee. So this could be your final balancing pose. You might be able to catch the foot. I don't mind if you're holding onto it on the inside or the outside. There's a reason for both, whichever feels better for you. But please bring your knees together. If your foot is in the hand, guide it towards the buttocks as we did lying down, and a similar action, move your hips forward from here. So we're experiencing maybe some length here in the front, depending on your mobility. From there, a choice to lift the left arm, and you could come back into that half lotus flower, touching index and thumb together. From this place, if it feels right, lift the knee back or push the foot into the hand. The body will open to the front, and I invite you to keep your gaze open as well. To get a lift of the knee might be related to foot and hand. It might not be if you're not holding on. Feel the strength in your standing leg and the back bend that's happening here, like a half bow pose on the floor, just balancing. Come back into standing and release this posture. Maybe move a little bit if you're feeling stuck in one leg. Full deep breath in and out and centering your gaze already. Shifting the weight to the right foot. And only just because you know where I'm going doesn't mean we're rushing there. So let's lift the left foot. As you bend your knee, maybe you're catching the foot. Notice what feels better, maybe in your shoulder, inside or outside edge of the foot. If you can find balance, touch your knees together. Move your heel towards your buttocks and encourage your hips forward. Noticing sensations that may or even may not arise. And then take the half lotus flower and lifting the right arm. These are all extensions, so choosing yours. As you might bring the knee back or rather the foot into the hand, keep the body open, your gaze open. And maybe regard this pose just for today as if you were doing the half bow pose lying down. Not much difference other than that we're standing on one leg. Think of the back bend you're creating. Maybe you can go a tiny bit deeper. Then lift up to stand. Release the foot, release the arms. Take a deep breath while you might be moving your body gently. I will ask you from here to take a seat. Bring yourself down to sitting, legs out in front. I'm after a head to knee pose. So if you usually have some support underneath the buttocks when bending forward, you might choose to roll up your mat or pop a block underneath, whatever you're used to. We will bend the right knee and you might place your foot somewhere against the leg. If your body is so perfect this morning that the sole of the foot reaches the inner thigh, you might place it there. Bring your hands down, lift the sit bones, just to walk out and turn a bit towards the extended leg. Extension isn't necessarily meaning this leg is completely straight. If you need that support for your lower back, please bend the knee. But we're lining the toes to face upwards so that the leg and the pelvis is safe. Bring the hands down, take a deep breath. And then moving forward. Keep your gaze forward until you reach the point where you think your hands can't go any further. Leave them there, then lower your gaze. It is really just up to your breath right now. As you center your awareness on your breathing, using that subtle activation of Mula Bandha each time you're exhaling. Make the exhales long and give yourself permission to surrender into the exhalation, as that might guide you a bit deeper. So to activate Mula Bandha, skin under the navel, draw it gently back and down. Immerse yourself into the breathing as if you were bathing in the breath. As you come out of the pose, we'll walk the hands back. Now please keep your right knee in a bend and step the left foot down in front. So as you might hold here, if that's your choice, you could go deeper and step the right foot across. But maybe this is good enough. If you need to straighten one leg, please do so. So let's pull ourselves up into a tall seat, just holding tightly onto the knee. And you will place your left hand behind and then turn towards the left knee when breathing out. And from here, there's only your personal exploration. Maybe you go deeper, the elbow can move out, you can hug the knee in, whatever feels right. Try not to force and notice where you are, because usually we do in some place or the other. And then allow your mind to center again on your breath. Here, the exhalation might get you into a deeper twist. To release the twist, the arm from the front comes behind, resting the weight gently towards your fingertips as you're stepping your feet out in front. We're revisiting the boat pose if you choose to, otherwise keep your feet down, leaning a little bit to the space between the sit bones. Feet might lift off the ground. And again, maybe the hands do too. Hold yourself, breathe. And then extend the legs again. We will change sides in regards to the forward bend. Bend your left knee. You can place the foot anywhere really, and I'm already doing that. I don't even think about it anymore. Lift the sit bones, turn towards your leg, turn the toes up, maybe bend the knee. Then take a deep breath just to sit tall and relaxed in the shoulders. And as you're breathing out, then make your way forward. Keep your gaze lifted until you reach the point where the hands won't walk any further. Then lower your gaze. Notice what you're aiming for. And if there is no clear point of aiming, perfect, you've already surrendered. Maybe it needs your focus on the breath and that subtle activation of Mula Bandha on the out breath. Do remember to release the Bandha though on your inhalation. And notice, where's the mind going? Are you here or have you wandered? Last breath before walking the hands back again. As you rise to sit, let's bend the right knee. And the same option here. If you can sit like this, place the foot in front of the shin, or maybe even stepping the foot across to the other side. But make sure you're sitting on both sit bones. Take a hold of the knee at the front and bring yourself up tall. This time it's the right hand fingertips that go behind. and then a breath out to twist. And you might then choose your arm variations. As you might close the eyes here, feeling the back moving, stimulation against the tummy. And getting guidance again from the out breath to deepen the twist. To release the posture, bring the hand or fingertips behind, stepping your feet out in front. Now, I think it would be extremely clever if you've got them close by to put your socks back on. We're moving into a relaxation. Maybe even have a jumper ready, some cushioning, or whatever else you might need on the floor. So from this place, fingertips might still rest behind. You could lift them off the floor and lower down from there, or you could lift the feet off the ground as well, and the hands, and lower down from here. Once you came to your back, separate the legs, shimmy into the shoulders, into the hips. If you need any support under the knees, you've got your bolsters, roller blankets, or whatever else you came up creatively. Or maybe stepping the feet down simply onto the ground. Allow yourself to arrive in the stillness of this pose. Just breathing, nothing else, but breathing in and out of your nostrils. Returning to the awareness of the flow of air and the preference your body has decided to have today, of which nostril is dominant. Has your mind wandered? While you're keeping the awareness on the breath flowing through the nostrils, carefully begin to deepen this breath and be aware of each deeper breath and how you're increasing the rate of your breathing. It might even become a little bit faster or a lot deeper. Allowing some time, but maintaining the stillness you might have cultivated right now, to return to a seated pose. So don't disturb the body too much, leading you into alternate nostril breathing. So as you know where we're going, find your way there and please support your seat So it's very important to sit up straight or natural curve of the spine. But that doesn't mean you can't lean against anything. This is definitely an option. Supporting underneath is too. Being warm is lovely. So some of you I know are very aware of this technique. Please simply begin, don't wait for any instructions. If you need instructions, I use my right hand thumb to close off the right nostril, my right hand ring finger to close off the left, and I have the middle and index finger lightly resting on or hovering just above the third eye point. If this arm feels very heavy, you can support with the other palm underneath. We'll use the right hand to close the right nostril, inhaling through the left. Then closing the left while opening the right nostril and breathing out the right nostril. Inhaling then through the right nostril. Closing it off and exhaling through the left, which is one cycle. Inhaling through left. Exhaling through right. Inhaling right. And exhaling left. And I invite you now to continue that, your own pace. If possible, the eyes are closed. If you need support, use it so the shoulders can be relaxed and stress-free. Breathing in one side and out the other. Immersing yourself in the flow of the breath through the nostril you're directing it through. When you're next exhaling through your left nostril, relax the hands down, keep the eyes closed for a while, and observe yourself once more. Not just the flow of breath, but all of you. I would invite you to stay in this state of hopefully being relaxed and open. And maybe bringing to mind again our card, the card of creation, a female shaman. Imagine her standing in the mist, holding out her hand. Follow her into the mist. As you walk, she motions to sit. Now ask for her guidance. Wait for a moment, but when you're ready, pick up your notebook and write. Simply write whatever comes. Do not censor or judge the words. They may mean nothing right now, but they might mean something later. If you don't have a pen and paper right now, you might make some mental notes of what arises. If you need to write a little bit more, please continue that once we've finished our practice. But do take a moment to thank for the guidance that you have received. And either choosing a prayer position or returning to your lotus flower and placing that in front of your heart space. Knowing that all of this guidance really just lies within ourselves. And we can draw upon it if we take the time, make the effort. From this place, we extend our awareness gently to each other. Light bow. Namaste.